Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of Kakariekū podcast. Here we're going to talk about marketing, all of the things that you want to know about Facebook advertising, Instagram, and all of the other channels. And today's guest is a very special one. He's called Adomas, and he actually raised over 30 million in Kickstarter campaigns, crowdfunding, including Filippo Loretti, My Chronos, Superscreen, Live Watches, Quartz Bottle, and Sequin. That's correct, yeah?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, and also Adam has spent over $2 million in Facebook ad spend. Yeah?
That is also correct.
Cool.
Nice.
So before we get into the nitty-gritty of the whole Facebook advertising thing, I wanted to ask you, how did you start? Because you told me that I read your blog and you said that you were really into data and you were like a data geek. So how did this data search start?
So it's been a long journey. I actually became interested in Facebook advertising or even social media when I was still studying at university. So at some point, I had to create this Facebook page for a local student organization, ISEC, and I started managing it. And I thought that it will be very easy, just share some content, share some posts, and invite your friends. Everyone will start liking, sharing, commenting, and suddenly the page will explode. You'll get a lot of sales results and so on. But as you can imagine, that didn't happen. So I became obsessed with figuring out what works and what doesn't. So I started reading a lot about social media, about marketing, about psychology, and so on. And
what year was that? What year was that?
It was 2011, 2012.
Okay, so just like the start of Facebook advertising.
Yeah, so the advertising part was very new. And at the beginning, I was just focusing on the Facebook page management. So after I finished my studies, I went back to Lithuania for some time, and I did an internship at Socialus Marketingas. So I spent a few months there, learned more about Facebook page management, about social media communication, and even during my studies, I traveled a lot. So I spent a couple months in Venezuela, then a few months in China, and I decided that I wanted to continue with this work experience abroad. So I ended up going on a 1-year-long traineeship in India. I spent 1 year in New Delhi. I worked at a travel agency. I helped them with sales and marketing. And it was that time when I actually got a lot of freedom to test out different advertising and marketing strategies. So I would say that the actual real beginning of my work with Facebook advertising was in India. And that was when I started freelancing a little bit on the side as well. Running the first desktop newsfeed, ads on Facebook, and all of that, because at that time it was still very new.
Wow. How did you learn along the way? Because there were very little resources. You just learned from practice. So how was that journey, and how has Facebook evolved from like 2012?
How do you think? Why did you succeed?
What
you did right?
I think because I studied mathematics and economics, I think that helped a lot, because before that I couldn't have imagined that I will end up doing Facebook ads. I thought that marketing is for these creative people that come in, they lock themselves in a dark room for 24 hours, brainstorming, generating ideas, maybe having some drinks, and then they come out and they say, we have this magical idea that will solve everything. So that was my idea of how marketing works. But when I started looking at digital marketing, I realized that it's much more about numbers and data. And because I enjoy data from my mathematical side, that everything kind of clicked. So, looking at how Facebook has changed, I think it was good for me. It was great for me because I started at the early years of Facebook advertising. And I saw how almost every single month or so many new features were being added to Facebook, and I just managed to, learn continuously with that.
Actually, what I really wanted to know about you is how you combine data along with the creative side, because content on Facebook is also a very important part. Do you agree?
Yes. So
how do you combine the data and the creative parts? That's interesting.
Well, you have to combine a lot of different things to make marketing or advertising work, especially digital advertising. So it's not just data and it's not just the creatives. So when people think about Facebook advertising or any kind of advertising, they usually begin with, I need to go to the platform, I need to set up some ad campaigns, but they don't think enough about what is the campaign and who they are trying to reach and what is the offer and so on. So even now, if we looked at Facebook advertising 5 years ago, it was really, really much cheaper to run ads on Facebook or just in general on the internet. So a lot of people, they managed to get amazing results just by advertising really bad, poor ads. But because it was so cheap, you could reach 5 times or even 10 times more people 5 years ago. So what happened now is that people still come with the same mindset. They think that they can just create some random Facebook ad campaign and suddenly the sales will start coming in. But that doesn't happen. It's so expensive to reach people right now, especially in the Western European countries or in the US and Canada, that you need to figure out everything. And what a lot of businesses make as a mistake is that they don't think enough about the funnel. So I would say the sales funnel is even more important than the creatives or the data, because you can throw a lot of money on advertising. You can, spend thousands of dollars on some ad campaign. You can test a dozen or just hundreds of different creatives. But if the sales funnel is not working, it doesn't matter. You will just still fail because you don't have that part figured out.
What is your when you create those funnels? Yeah, because there's a lot of different touch points in the customer journey through the funnel. What do you most focus on? Because there are different kinds of funnels. You can do advanced funnels, such as they're like you go through a lead form, then you have like a sign up form, and then you just filter the client. So how do you start creating those funnels? What is your mind process?
Yeah, so usually when it comes to these lead generation campaigns, you have to begin with something that is either extremely cheap or pretty much free. So it's really difficult to make a sale immediately. And I know that some businesses, can do that and they can scale their companies. But if you don't have high margins, or if you don't have a lot of traffic that comes in and a lot of sales, then it will be very difficult to get those immediate sales. So you have to step back a little bit and take a broader approach to this and decide what will be that initial step that will take a person from a completely cold person that doesn't know anything about you to kind of being familiar with what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve. So that's why it's more and more popular to promote some articles with Facebook ads so that you can get them into an article. The articles would get much higher engagement, much higher click-through rate, so you'll pay less for a click. And that means that with the same amount of money, you can get maybe 2 times, 3 times, or even 4 times more people to the website. After you do that, then you have to think about, okay, so now they're at the website, on my website, but what do I do next? Usually you will offer something for free. So think about what are the biggest pain points that your audience has and try to condense it in a very simple lead magnet. Now the lead magnets can depend on, and it depends on different industries and different companies. In e-commerce, maybe you can give a discount or some free plus shipping offer, or maybe you can give a free shipping after a certain amount of money spent, or maybe it's like a carousel that gives you some coupon or some other offer, and so on. The key thing to know about lead magnets is that you have to make them super simple. So a lot of people make this mistake that they think webinars are great lead magnets, or some free video courses are great lead magnets, but actually they're not that good because they're extremely difficult to consume. So the best lead magnet is something that is super easy to consume. Think about like a one-pager, a checklist of 10 mistakes that you're doing with Facebook ads, or 10 ways how to raise more money on crowdfunding campaigns. So it's a simple document, one-pager, very quick to consume, and it will give a much better conversion rate as well.
Lead magnets. Let's talk about them. The thing that I'm facing right now is, when you create those funnels, you take a lot of examples from other people and how they're doing. How do you come up with new ideas? Because the lead magnets and all of that is on the internet, and you can find all of them. But how do you break out of the old ideas and come up with new ideas and new lead magnets and new funnels in Facebook advertising?
Well, I think looking at the competitors or even at other companies in other industries is a good way to start. Because if you see that someone is running a lead magnet, there are only two options. One option is that they are getting extremely good results, and that's why they are promoting that lead magnet, or they're throwing a lot of money away because that lead magnet is just not converting. So you have to do some research and figure out which lead magnets are getting those results. But it's definitely okay just to take, to look at the competitors again or other companies. Try to make a list of all of the lead magnets that they are using and see how you could adapt it to your own business.
Okay, so everyone now is into e-commerce, and how do you think if you use Facebook ads, is it better to make a direct response marketing, when you post on some item of what you're selling, or it's better to post an article which leads to that product, which is cheaper, and which one is converting better?
That's a great question, and I don't think I have a great answer to that yet. With e-commerce, it's a completely different industry. So I wouldn't even call Kickstarter, it is kind of e-commerce, but not exactly. It's a very different platform. It has a very unique target audience that you can reach very easily. And just the way it is created, it triggers a lot of psychological responses. So you have the deadlines, the time is ticking down, you see how many backers there are, you see how much money is raised, you have incredible discounts that you can get just for a limited period of time and so on. So it is, in a way, e-commerce, but it's not the traditional e-commerce that you can, when you think about an online store selling some clothes or some accessories or anything else. So when it comes to direct advertising versus brand campaigns, I think I would always go with direct, because even those campaigns are brand awareness campaigns in some way. So you are promoting your brand by showing direct response ads. You are trying to get them to your sales funnel. You are trying to get them to your website, or you are trying to give them some value first so that they trust you more and so on. So I think it's still, no matter which, I would still, because it's so easy to waste money online when you are advertising, I would really try to focus on getting this sales funnel done and getting direct response from the audience.
Okay, we're gonna go a bit to the Kickstarter theme, if you don't mind. You're a master of creating Kickstarter campaigns. Can you agree to that?
No, I'm not. No, so I'm not the master of creating Kickstarter campaigns. I was maybe the master behind promoting them. Okay. But it was also, the companies that I worked with, they had incredible teams that actually created the Kickstarter campaigns. Okay. So Philippe already had an incredible team that helped with everything, with the copy, with the text, with the copy, with the videos, with the photos, and with the value proposition and so on, and all of the designers that actually made the watches themselves. So my role was, after the campaign is ready prepared, my role was to come in and try to use Facebook advertising to get as many people to the campaign page as possible, and hopefully those people would convert into customers.
So you say that preparation is the key for success. You have to prepare for everything. You have to know what you're doing. Yes.
Yes and no. So when it comes to crowdfunding campaigns, the golden age of that was probably 2016, maybe a little bit 2017. But I actually stopped working with crowdfunding campaigns last year because the industry has changed a lot, and the same strategies that worked amazingly well 2 years before that, they stopped working that well. So in my portfolio, I have 7 Kickstarter campaigns that raised more than $1 million. And we achieved that primarily with Facebook advertising. But the same strategies stopped working, or they started working very, very poorly a year later. And I think even now it's even more difficult to get the same results. So I can share just a few things why I feel that happened. And one is that first, the advertising costs, they increased 2, sometimes even 3 times. So imagine paying $5 to reach 1,000 people in the US, and then 1 year later or 2 years later paying 15, or in some cases we're paying $20. The CPM, or the cost per 1,000 impression, was $20, $30, and on desktop newsfeed it was even more. So the advertising costs have doubled, almost tripled, and then the conversion rate on the Kickstarter campaigns themselves also decreased. We are getting a lot of traffic to the campaign page, but it wasn't converting. And when we compared the same, let's say, companies, in 2017 versus 2016, for the same companies, for amazing still products, the conversion rate went down. So you can get, 10,000 people to the campaign page, but if only 5 or 10 of them purchase the product, you might not be able to scale it at all. So what I feel what happened was people just got tired of the Kickstarter campaigns. They didn't see it as innovative or as unique compared to, let's say, 2015, when you really had some incredible new projects that were launched, some incredible new products, different designs and different models and so on. And suddenly you have these dozens of campaigns that are launching every single day, and all of them are trying to reach the same audience on Facebook. So if you see a different ad for a different product every single day that is promising to be the world's best, the world's greatest, product, at some point you just become numb and you start ignoring those ads. And even the discounts that worked very well, let's say 3 or 4 years ago on Kickstarter, I don't think they're that appealing anymore, because pretty much everyone understands that it's a marketing plot or a marketing strategy, and there were also some campaigns that went bankrupt, or they got delayed for 6 months or 12 months, and I think that caused a lot of just disbelief or anger between the community that you are paying for these products and you're kind of getting a discount, but then you have to wait for 6 months, 12 months, and it's just better to wait and until the product is done, and you will pay $30 or $40 more to buy that product.
Yeah. Thank you for watching episode 1, part 1 of the Adomas Baltagalvis podcast. In the second episode, we're going to talk about content strategies and the most important things in Facebook advertising. So stay tuned for the next part of episode 1.